Buongiorno e buonasera. Hello and welcome to the kickoff of the 2019 Putnam County Columbus Day festivities. My name is Giulio Cefaloni. I'm the chairman of these festivities, and once again this year I will be your host. We are indeed delighted to be producing this show once again this year. We hope you enjoy getting to know our marshals. On behalf of our sponsor, the Italian American Club of Mayapack, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you all. Let me speak a little bit about our club, a very active club. The Italian American Club of Mayapack is an organization which over the years has acquired a tremendous reputation for its contributions to the greater Putnam County community. The Italian American Club of Mayapack values and espouses certain precepts. We celebrate the contributions of all Americans to our blessed country. We pay tribute to the hard work and sacrifices of our forefathers, to the aspirations of all immigrants, and to the yearnings of all those who seek refuge under the mantle of Lady Liberty. We honor, validate, and respect all ethnic groups and heritages from their cultural richness and contributions to the mosaic we call America. We uphold and celebrate our Italian roots, traditions, history, language, culture, and value system. Let me tell you how we get involved in the community. And this is just a short list. Scholarships, bocce tournament, we do a picnic, we do Italian classes, cultural presentations, wine tasting and competition, I should say homemade wine tasting and competition, St. Anthony and St. Padre Pio Mass, cooking shows, Columbus Day Journal, Columbus Day Parade, Ferragosto evening in the piazza, Columbus Day dinner dance, concert and mass at St. John the Evangelist, and so many other things, including a Christmas party for the children of our community. These events have become traditions in our community, and we look forward to doing them and making them available to the community every year. So, we have a very, very active club. We welcome you to look online at ItalianAmericanClubofMayapack.org to see all our events, our schedules, and lots of pictures and videos. Thank you very much for joining us today. A few words in italiano. Ciao e benvenuti al nostro programma di Colombo qui a Putnam County. Ogni anno il club italo-americano di Mayapack festeggia Colombo con tante attività. Speriamo che le feste di quest'anno vi piacciono. Venite a celebrare e a divertirvi con noi. Ciao e a presto. Now, this year's festivities began back in February. The planning did. The committee got together and we began to plan out the year of what we wanted to do. This year is a very, very special year for many, many reasons. We have a very special theme that we espoused this year. As you know, I've said in the past, in other shows, every year we espouse a theme that we work on for the entire year. This year the theme is the year of the healthcare providers. And here I have Linda Cefaloni, our journal chairwoman, to explain what this theme is all about. Linda?
Thank you, Giulio. Well, I'd like to start by showing you the cover of our journal. And as you can see, this year we are espousing the year of the healthcare provider and dimensions of wellness, which means that we are not only paying attention to all the practitioners in the physical realm, but also anyone that has something to do with wellness, of mental wellness, spiritual wellness, social wellness, intellectual wellness. And so we have taken the theme that Mary Ellen Odell espoused for the community, for Putnam County, and we have incorporated it in our journal and expanded it. So we have on the cover the Vitruvian Man, which is Leonardo da Vinci's drawing, and he's supposed to be the epitome of health and wellness. And so he is on our cover to symbolize wellness. But also on the back cover, we have Leonardo's drawing. As you may know, it's the 500th anniversary of Leonardo da Vinci's death. And he was a genius in his own right during the Renaissance. He was an architect, a sculptor, an artist, a scientist, an engineer, did so many things. And so this is his drawing of the helicopter, which later led to man landing on the moon. And as you can see, this is also the celebration of the 50th anniversary of man landing on the moon. So we have Leonardo at the top with his drawing, and at the bottom we have man landing on the moon, the 50th anniversary.
Quite a combination, eh, Linda?
Quite a combination, one leading to the other. I do want to mention that this year's journal is dedicated to our club advocate, and we felt a very huge loss with the passing of Putnam County Judge James F. Reitz, who was the Italian-American Club's advocate. He was a man who loved life, loved his community, and loved second chances. Anyone who knew Jim knew that he was a man that believed in giving people a chance. He was a big proponent of the drug addiction programs and working with addiction and those who needed assistance, not writing them off, not putting them in jail if they committed a crime because of their addictions, but to try and get them into programs where they could be rehabilitated and treated drug addiction as an illness. So he became very well known outside Putnam County for his drug intervention programs. So this book is going to be dedicated to him. We do miss him terribly, and we hope that people enjoy the tribute that we have laid out for him.
Indeed, Jim will be very much missed by the community, by this club, and by Linda and myself. We're very close friends for many, many years, and we feel his loss deeply, very deeply.
I just wanted to mention that on the cover here, it talks about emotional wellness, which is really creating a positive mindset for yourself, finding ways to decrease stress, cultivating positive lifestyle, and in talking about mental health, this theme, we're talking about mental health providers, psychiatrists, practitioners. Physical wellness incorporates all the physicians, cardiologists, primary care physicians, nutritionists, therapists, anyone who is a volunteer or a professional to assist in the maintaining of the physical health. There's also spiritual health. Sometimes we don't think about this, but for a person to stay well, there's so many components that need to go on. And so spiritual wellness is contributed to by belonging to religious organizations like Knights of Columbus, Catholic Daughters, church organizations, different groups that can help provide that spiritual sense of, being part of something bigger than ourselves. Social wellness, community groups like belonging to the library, Italian American Club. Social wellness comes with belonging to sports associations and clubs at school, being part of other organizations, being part of a team, and that adds to your mental and physical wellness and social wellness. And of course, there's other types of wellness like intellectual, challenging yourself, learning something, being a positive learner, having this lifelong learning and thirst for knowledge. So don't stop learning no matter what age you are. So I think we've tried to incorporate everything, and we hope that everyone enjoys the journal this year.
Now, Linda, in conjunction with our theme, we appropriately chose a charity that for the year, that we espoused for the year, that is very special, and it really encompasses everything that you have here, that you try to capture on the cover. And the charity that we have espoused this year is a great cause, and it is the Putnam Recreation Programs and Habilitation, short PRPH. To my right, I have the executive director of the organization, Mr. Jim Sullivan, and I would like to have Jim explain to us what this organization is all about, what the mission is, what the challenges are, what the successes are. Jim, welcome.
Thank you, Giulio. Thank you, Linda. Thank you to everyone at the Italian American Club of the MAPAC. Before I talk to you a little bit about Putnam Recreation Programs and Habilitation, I wanted to acknowledge the important advocacy played by Judge Reitz in enabling Putnam Recreation Programs and Habilitation to be honored and adopted this year by the Italian American Club. It was Judge Reitz who brought us together, and I would be remiss not to recognize that tireless advocacy that he has played for so many members of our community.
I think we're discovering more and more that he has touched immense areas that many of us were not aware of. So, God bless him. I know he's doing great things. We're in heaven.
Yes. So, I'm not going to stumble over the name of our organization all night, so I'm just going to go to our derivation, which we're really known for as PRPH. So, PRPH was founded by a group of parents who had children with developmental disabilities in 1979. They found accessing typical community recreation programs sponsored by town and village government as not being possible. So they banded together and started this small nonprofit organization. And it has continually served residents of Putnam County in providing recreation and social programs for children and adults with developmental disabilities here in our communities. We're celebrating our 40th year of continuous service to families, and we are happy to say that we serve over 100 different families in the course of our program year. We provide recreation and social activities throughout the year. Weekly, we provide 4 different program opportunities on Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday afternoons. During school vacation times, the typical school breaks during the school year, and in the summer, we provide week-long camps for families whose children have disabilities. And in serving those children during these camp weeks, we provide door-to-door transportation, we provide meals, we provide activities. We create an opportunity for parents to continue to work if they need to and have a safe and enjoyable place for their children to participate in wholesome recreational activities.
What are some of the challenges you guys have?
Well, as any nonprofit agency would say, funding is always a challenge. We look for different ways to find the funds to provide the services. Our funding primarily comes from New York State through the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities and through private charities and through our organizational sponsored fundraising events. We look to expand that as our history would tell us, being 40 years old, we still have original parents who are on our board of directors who take care of the fundraising activities, and we're all getting up there. So we're looking for new ways and new energy to help us with our fundraising activities. We write grant proposals, we scour the New York State Grants Gateway for opportunities. We welcome the opportunity to partner with organizations like the Italian American Club, the Carmel Rotary Club, the Patterson Rotary, the Guideposts. The Guideposts is an organization founded by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who gave PRPH its original seed money. And the family, the seminal family for PRPH is the Temple family of Carmel, and they had a very close relationship with Dr. Peale. And so we continue to thank and remember the guideposts as being one of those strong, early, and continuing advocates. A little off the subject of challenges. Our challenge is to provide quality services every day, find a way to say yes to parents who call us looking for opportunities. It's a hallmark of what we do, is that we try to find a way to say yes. And sometimes in the world of a bureaucracy, yes is a very hard word to hear sometimes. Yeah. Organization, I'm sorry, did you want to ask me something?
As a matter of fact, that the last Saturday, we had the evening in the piazza, and I know you had a table, a display table there, and we had, I think, Linda, 3 or 4 people interested in the organization, and I think they were speaking to some folks there who were there manning the table. They were interested in the services, so we hope we get them some help.
In the world of HIPAA and privacy, sometimes we think we're the best kept secret in Putnam County. So anytime we have the opportunity to meet people and say hello and talk about things that we do, we enjoy that. You know, some of the other challenges we have is that as an organization, we have no full-time employees. We're all part-time, and we currently employ 19 part-time staff, and they generally work on the average of 6 to 8 hours per week. So the opportunity for employment is challenging because it's we don't pay you a lot of money, we don't give you a lot of hours, and the hours that we have available are usually from 6 in the evening until 8:30. So yeah, nobody's ever busy during those hours.
Family hours, right?
Yeah, really. So we love what we do. The best part of our job is being with the people that we serve. The men and women who participate in the programs at PRPH are beyond special. They're unique. They have ability to make us better people. And for those of us who have had that privilege, it cannot be described, it can only be experienced. So it would be wonderful if someone watching this tonight would get in touch with us and try to enjoy that as well.
How would they get in touch with you?
Best way they should get in touch with us is visiting our website at www.prphny.org, www.prphny.org. You'll see all the things that we do, all the opportunities, and there's a way to click and contact us.
Very nice, Jim. Very nice. I think you deserve our accolades, our thanks for the services that you provide to the community.
Right.
And yes.
While I have you, no good deed goes unpunished. I'd like to just say, for the public, to get involved in some of the many things that we do to raise money. We have an annual bowling tournament in March. We have a great plant sale around Mother's Day. We do an annual golf outing at a wonderful private course that you can't get on unless you are a member of this club or do our golf outing. We run an annual classic car show at the Patterson Town Park in August, and we do an annual brunch and silent auction at the Putnam National Golf Club in October. And we end our year, every year, with a gingerbread house making party. And we invite the community to come and participate, make a gingerbread house, have a visit from Santa. It's the first Sunday of December every year. And it is the first event that PRPH ever did as an established nonprofit. So every year that we do it, when we have our 40th edition, we think back to that first opportunity. So thank you very much for letting me speak to you. And
Absolutely.
the gingerbread house, it's been a movable feast, but for the last 7 or 8 years, it's been at the Sycamore Park, the Gennaro Recreation Center at Sycamore Park here in Carmel. And we so look forward to being part of your festivities in October. Thank you very, very much.
If you ever need of a Santa, just let me know, because I do have a direct line to him, okay?
There you go.
All right.
I got you.
Jim,
Thank you.
thank you very much
Thank you.
for everything you do, your organization does for the community. You deserve our thanks, our accolades. And let me make a promise to you and to the organization that once all our expenses are paid, we mean to make a considerable contribution to your organization to help you in any way that we can.
Giulio, your support and the concept of community that is espoused by the Italian American Club means more to our organization than money, although we're happy to receive anything that you want to send in our direction.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
We'll be in touch. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a number of events and fundraisers left for the year. On Sunday, September 22nd at 1:30, we have our big gala dinner dance at Villa Barone Hilltop Manor here in Mayapack. It is an open bar and it's an Italian wedding. You will not go home hungry, I assure you. On Sunday, October the 6th, we have the big grand parade, the Columbus Day Parade on Route 6, starting at 2:30. We go from Lake Cassie Road all the way down Route 6, and we finish where the Chamber Park is, where they will have the Chamber of Commerce will have its festival. So come and join the parade in marching and actually watching it. On Sunday, October the 20th, at 11:30 in the morning, we have our Mass and concert. If you want to hear Bocelli, come at St. John's the Evangelist Church, beginning at 11:30, followed by the concert. So all this information is on our website, ItalianAmericanClubOfMayapack.org. So please visit that. We want to thank all our partners for these year's festivities. Most of all, the Greater Mayapack and Carmel Chamber of Commerce, who will be holding its very exciting street festival on Sunday, October the 6th, starting at 11:30 and continuing into the, I think until 6. Music, fun, games, and food for the kids. I also want to thank all the merchants, partners that help us in this beautiful journal that Linda was showing you before. This is a big financial fundraiser that we do for the club, and that's why we are able to donate some money to organizations like such as PRPH. I want to thank the merchants in the area. Without you, we will not be able to stay alive or do this book and stay alive as a club. So I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, I also want to thank all the people that work on making these shows possible. And I want to thank our, obviously, Nick Scafidi, our technical director here filming us today, and the entire committee that works with us. Grazie molto. I want to thank Jim. I want to thank Linda for providing such beautiful work together with our graphic artists, Kristen and Nick Fanin. I want to thank Jim again for his work in the community in helping our needy in all possible areas that he can. We will take a short break and we will be right back. My fellow citizens of our great mosaic we call America, Americans of Italian descent and heritage, like many other immigrant groups, continue to build the fabric of this country and contribute in every walk of life. It is no different here in Putnam County. Now I would like to introduce you to some special people, our 2019 Marshals and honorees. Let me first say that one of our honorees, Dr. Michael Nashwat, the Commissioner of Health for Putnam County, could not be with us today. He was called to a medical convention and he sends his apologies, but he will be at the other events that we will hold. So, Dr. Michael Nashwat. Now, let's first meet our Grand Marshal, Mr. Anthony DeCarlo, our Superintendent of the Mayapack Central School District. Let me tell you a little bit about Anthony. He's a young guy, by the way. Anthony was born in 1961 in south of here, in Eastchester, New York. Beautiful town. Parents, Fred and Annette. He attended Iona College, and he has an MS in MS in Education and School Administration. He is currently our Superintendent of Schools in Mayapack, but he's no stranger to education. He's been in education for about 30 years.
35 years.
35 years.
Yeah.
He was an administrator from K through 12. He was a principal. He was athletic director, director of instruction and HR. He also dabbled in politics. He was our Carmel Town Councilman for how many years, Anthony?
7.
7 years. And he was also, then he ascended to a higher position as Putnam County legislator for
3 years.
3 years. And then he said, enough of politics, I'm going to go back to my love, which is education. And that's what he's doing now. He moved to Mayapack 33 years ago with his beautiful wife, Rosemary. They have 4 children, Anthony, Daniel, Mark, and Dana.
Correct.
He moved to Mayapack in 1999, when Mayapack was going strong and still going strong. Now, Antonio, growing up in Eastchester, what made your family an Italian family?
Well, my grandparents. I had an incredible, very fortunate. My grandparents lived for a very ripe old age. They lived in their 90s, and we grew up with mom and dad, my grandparents, and Sundays were a tradition, were the Italian tradition, and we would go to grandma's house on one side and then the other, play with our cousins, have dinner about 1 o'clock, go out in the park and play, and just it was all about family. And that heritage and the part of who I think I am as a person and my personality is based on my family, my heritage. You know, we talk about, and your wife talked about social emotional readiness and how we're struggling as a country. You know, I submit to you, Giulio, that when we went away from Sundays that were just about family, and we opened it up for shopping and going out, that was the beginning of the difficult times that we have. Sure. I think we as a country have to go back to that, to make that Sunday special, to get up, to go to church as a part of who we are as Italians, go and celebrate. My grandfather, God rest his soul, every Sunday would go to the Bronx, to Sal and Dom's in the Bronx, and get pastries, and whether he was bringing them home or bringing them to his daughter's house or his sister-in-law or brother-in-law's house, that was just part of the tradition, and we hold that dear. And if you ask my children now, especially when it comes to Christmas and the fishes, they don't want any changes.
So you keep these traditions?
Yes, we do, very much so.
That
It's a part of who we are, very much.
Very wonderful.
Yeah.
So you had a very extended family. You had aunts and uncles.
Yeah, I mean, so we were Tamilios, Dapolitos, Ianacos, Delvecchios, and DeCarlos. My grandfather on my mother's side was one of 15.
Okay.
My grandmother
That's an extended family.
Yeah, my grandmother on my father's side was one of 16. So I grew up with a lot of great aunts and great uncles and a lot of cousins. Yeah.
A lot of cousins.
And they all lived close by.
Yeah.
So we got to know each other, and our cousins, we played every Sunday together, and it was just an incredible way to grow up. I wish those days were back. For this generation, I really do.
You know, the underpinning of our society should be, and it's always been, family.
No question.
And you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
We hope that we turn our attention to that very soon, because with the disintegration of the family, a lot of other things go by the wayside.
Yeah.
And you and I know that.
Yeah.
And you know it so well because you're an educator. You live it every day.
Very much so.
You live it every day. Have you been to Italy?
I have been to Italy.
Okay. What did you think?
Oh my gosh. It was for our 25th wedding anniversary, my wife and I went. We went to Roma, we went to Firenze, and we went to Venice. And it was just probably one of the most incredible experiences of my life. You have to think about this in the Italian culture. Think of what it's given to the world.
Yeah.
From architecture to beauty to cooking. It was the empire of the world. And to go there and think, and it was mentioned before by your wife, the Renaissance period, and these brilliant men, and then behind every man is a woman, were that just incredible for those times. You go into the architectural and you look at what was done during that time, is just incredible, and it makes you feel so proud to be Italian. We would love to go back. We're looking forward to go back. We'd like to do southern Italy, go to Abruzzo and Bari and Napoli, where my family is from. But it was just an incredible experience.
Yeah. When you went to, you didn't go to Bari.
No, we did not.
This time when you go to Bari, you're going to see the Trulli.
Yes.
I'll talk about it a little later.
Yeah.
But Bari is a beautiful place as well. Now, Anthony, did your family have anything to do with you becoming an educator in some direct way?
Interesting enough, always talked about family and working together and being a good listener and trying to always talk, not go to bed angry and problem solve. And I just think because my family, and especially I go back to my grandfather on my mother's side, they called him Mr. Dapp. And he had such an effervescent personality. And just people kind of gravitated to him. And I kind of, my father was kind of the same way, but my mother very much. My mother is an incredible caregiver and wanting to give back. And when I became, in middle school, I got involved with local area clubs and activities. I did some coaching, did some mentoring, and I loved working with students. And then when I left college, I said, you know what, I love to get into the field of education, and hence I worked my way up, started in a parochial school in Scarsdale, Our Lady of Fatima School in Scarsdale, and then went to Sacred Heart High School in Yonkers. So I went through the private parochial sector, and then through that went into public schools. And I've loved the journey.
Yeah, sure. Now, Anthony is no stranger to community life. I mean, he was a politician, an educator. He is an educator today. He is the leader of the Mahopac Central School District. But Anthony was also very active in MSA, Mahopac Sports Association. You coached.
Yeah, I coached baseball, I coached basketball. I was the travel coordinator for many years.
Yeah.
So, I know how important it is for youth to be involved. It really is important from an athletic point of view, from a social, emotional point of view, to be on a team, to be able to play with others and to build teamwork is really, really important.
In his spare time, he's a member of the Italian American Club. He contributes to the life of the club as well. So we really appreciate it.
Well, and we appreciate from the school community what you at the Italian American Club do here with our students and how you give back in scholarships. It's just a testament because I talk about when I came in and took this position about the Mahopac way, like what makes Mahopac so special, and making sure we hold on to those things that make this such a great community.
Yeah. Well, we're delighted that you are the superintendent of our school district. We really are, because you have so much to offer, not only your educational background, but what you bring as a person to the school district. So we're delighted that you're here and that you are caring for our kids. I really am.
Well, I'm honored to be here, and this is just an incredible honor for me. I'm humbled by it. I'm humbled by being the superintendent of the school district. It's where my heart is.
Yeah.
And, we're working hard. We're doing a lot of, I think, great things. I'll be finishing up my second year in February, and I want to thank the public for their trust in passing a bond back in May, because that speaks highly of the work that we need to do and bring Mahopac to one of the premier districts, not only in the La Jolla Hudson Valley, but in the state of New York. So I'm very, very proud of that. And we're getting a great honor. We just received a School of Excellence Award, Giulio,
Excellent.
from the New York State Public High School Athletic Association. We had 75% of our students that were on sports team have a 90 or above average.
Wow.
There's 77 schools in Section 1. We're only one of 7 to get the award this year. So that's a testament to the work that we're doing. Well, I thank you.
We have a lot of student athletes.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Right. And I thank you for your service. Your dedication, the years that you put into to what you do and what you did for the Mahopac Central School District, and what you do, your wife and the whole club does for the community is definitely very much appreciated.
What are some of the challenges you guys face as a school district these days?
Well, one of the things, of course, is social media.
Yeah.
And I am so proud of the fact that this year at Mahopac High School, Giulio, we're offering a class for 6th graders coming into the middle school and 9th graders coming into the high school that are going to talk about how do you get academically ready for the middle school and high school, the kind of skills and study habits you need, social and emotional readiness.
Excellent.
digital citizenship, and media, and what that impacts on your life. So schools have to adapt to the times that we're going through in our society, and we are going through difficult times. And in Mayapack, I think we meet it head on. I think I'm somebody who's not afraid to say that we have issues and concerns, and we want our kids to be the best they can be upon graduating after 12th grade.
Yeah, but you are growing with the times, and you are coming up with skills for our students to latch on to, so that they become better students, better citizens.
Right.
I commend you for that. That's very nice.
Well,
great courses that you offer.
It's a team effort.
Yeah.
You know, I'm blessed to have a great group of administrators, faculty, and staff, because listen, you can't get to the work unless you build relationships.
Absolutely.
Just like in the Italian American Club, it's all about relationship building. So is it in schools.
Yeah.
And we try to explain to students that you can't resolve problems unless you can communicate like we are now. Not over social media, not hiding behind a phone. And those are the things that we're starting to do. And I have to tell you, the parents are understanding it. This community a year and a half ago really talked about vaping. We were the forefront of it. If you notice the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden one of the journals in Massachusetts talked about just one vape and bringing it in can affect you. So, we've talked about it, and I think we're doing some of the right things.
Anthony, I want to end this discussion. We could go on for hours.
Right.
But talk to us about what you mean by the Mayapack way.
Yeah.
I know you invented that term.
Yeah.
And
So sometimes we don't realize the traditions that we have in Mayapack, from what we do as a community to what we do as teachers, administrators, students, that we want to be ambassadors to show that this is what we treasure. This is what makes Mayapack so special. Our volunteerism, our kids that go out and volunteer in all different organizations, the type of events that we hold, our football games, our nights that we do to recognize individuals. This year, Julia, one of our football games, we are acknowledging the volunteers in our community and bringing the community together. That's what makes Mayapack such a special community. When things go wrong and when we have to come together as a community, we're there for one another, we support one another. And sometimes we lose sight of that we are special because we have so many things that are going around in our lives. And that's what I try to express and implore about who we are as a community and make those traditions who we are.
Mayapack way.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I commend you, and
I
thank you for
very
all
much.
your work.
And thank
you. And we are delighted to have Anthony as our Grand Marshal this year. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's move and get to know one of our honorary Grand Marshals, Michelle Capocella. She is our Director of Library in Mayapack, and I know you work very closely with Anthony. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Michelle. Michelle's heritage is from Sicily. She was born in Rutherford, New Jersey, around the corner, 1967. You're a young lady of 25.
Baby.
Lived with maternal grandparents while parents worked. Went to Rutherford High School. Graduated from Rutgers University with a BS in economics in 1990 and an MS in library and information sciences in 1997. I got that right?
Yep, that's it.
After college, Michelle became the head of the teen services for the Chappaqua Library system in Westchester. In 2009, she became the assistant director of Danbury Libraries, and in 2012 became the director of Danbury Libraries. In 2013, she became the executive director and CEO. I had demoted you. The executive director and CEO of the Mayapack Library, our beautiful building here on Route 6. But it's not just a building, as Michelle will tell us in a minute. She met her husband, Peter, at the Chappaqua Library while he was there visiting his aunt at the reference desk. That could be a movie. Peter is a project manager with the New York City Department of Environmental Protection. She and Peter have 2 cats and moved to Danbury in 2004. Michelle.
Yes.
Where do you trace your roots to the Italian heritage? How do you trace your roots to the Italian heritage?
Well, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, I grew up with my grandfather and my grandmother, and their family was from Sicily. Now, unfortunately, I never knew his parents, my great-grandparents, because they died relatively young. My great-grandfather was a stonemason, and he died in a building collapse when he was just 50. And then my great-grandmother died soon after him, so they both died before I was born. But we grew up with my great-grandfather was 100% Sicilian, my grandfather, and then my grandmother was 100% Polish. Sorry. My 100% Polish. And so I grew up with them. And we lived in the same house. So the house was, they lived on the top floor and we lived on the bottom floor. And it was, you know, it was great. I mean, it was one of the best ways to grow up.
Sure. And did you witness a lot of Italian traditions, a lot of Sicilian traditions growing up in the household?
I think the biggest tradition, I mean, it's harder when you grow up with your grandfather, because I think grandmothers usually have with the, you know, the cooking and all of that. It's really the woman who brings the traditions like that. But growing up with my grandfather, I would say that the biggest tradition I learned from him was family. You know, he was very big into family. I had a lot of, he was one of 6, not as many as, and my grandmother was one of 9. So they lived close, so there's always a lot of people around, whether it was for a formal holiday or just people dropping by. And he was always very welcoming, and he was kind of like the social butterfly. My grandmother was more of the calm person, and he loved to have people around.
So it was the Sicilian hospitality.
It was the Sicilian hospitality, and he was he was a very loving man. Like when I grew up with him, I have nothing but really good memories of him. He was very loving and protective, and he lived to be 102. We were very fortunate to have him, and he lived in the house. He didn't have to go anywhere. My brother stayed downstairs, so we were very fortunate to have him for that long. So I think that really, it's just like that, the love and the closeness of family that he gave to us.
Have you been to Italy, Michelle?
I haven't, but I'm going. My husband and I, it's going to be our 20th anniversary next year. So we've booked a trip to Italy in August of next year.
Very
so
nice.
we will be going for the first time.
Very, very nice. You're going to love it. I mean, I know that you know Italy probably from having read about it immensely, but once you're there, you're going to see a museum all over. It's an open museum, as Anthony was talking about. So I know you're going to love it. You're going to appreciate, and you will appreciate the beauty and the accomplishments of these people for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Absolutely.
You know, going all the way back to Rome. You know, it's still there. Some of the Roman ruins are still standing.
It's amazing.
The Colosseum is still there, you know, reinforced with concrete here and there, but it's still standing. Michelle, I think you brought to this building that we built as a community here in Mayapack, the Mayapack Library. We were all wondering, why do we need such a big building? And what are we going to do in there? Play basketball? What are we going to do in there? But I think you coming on board in this community, you have brought really a ray of light. I see the library as a central focus in our community these days, like it never was before. I walk in there, I go in there with my little grandchild, 3 years old, and we go to these programs that Ms. Gail does, and but I walk in there and I do not know where to go. There's so much there that I can put my hands on that I could enjoy as a community member. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's really important. I mean, I'm glad you said that, because community is really important. Like the community is the center of the library. We are doing the things that we're doing, we're not doing because we just decide to do them. We do them with input from the community, and we're trying to contribute to the community and give the community the kind of things that they want. I think when Linda said earlier about the spiritual well-being and mentioned libraries, I think that's very important, because one of the things when we had our community conversations for our long-range plan, one of the things that came up was a feeling of community. People are busy. They don't really know their neighbors as well as it used to be. You know, growing up, my grandfather would walk around the block. That's what he did every day. Is he would get outside and he would walk around the block, and it would take him about 5 hours because he knew everybody. He knew, you know, he would go see Walt at the gas station, and then he would stop to see Mrs. Cancelleri, the Hungarian woman, and it took him such a long time because he really knew everybody in the neighborhood. I think it's a little different today, no matter where you live, because you don't have those. Everyone's busy, everyone has their lives, kids are busy, you're taking kids everywhere. And I think the library is kind of one of those places where you can go, and it's kind of, we don't expect anything of you. It's a place where you can come, you can meet people, you can have a conversation, you can find a book to read or a movie, you can sit by the lake and just kind of look out the window and relax. You can come to a program and be with other people, just whether you know these people or not. And we have a lot of people. We just redecorated the first floor. We got a grant from Assemblyman Byrne. We were very fortunate. And we reorganized the first floor. We got new furniture. With that in mind, with that whole, a place to come and kind of like a community's living room, if you will.
Yeah. Michelle, I do feel that way. I feel very welcome when I walk in there.
Okay.
It's like I'm going to see my friends. I'm going to see people who want to be there with me. What are some of the latest accomplishments that you are very proud of? Some of the programs that you have instituted?
Well, I think, you know, a lot of the programs were there. I don't really do the programs. I'm not going to take any credit. I mean, I know that I'm here as kind of representing the library, but it's really the library staff. They work very hard. The Board of Trustees, they volunteer their time. They work very hard. They're very passionate. Both those groups are very passionate about the library. So I think the programs that really are very popular, we have the BAM, the Books, Arts, and Music in Mayapack concerts that Debbie Feynman does. She's our adult programmer. She does other great programs, but those are very popular. I think the programs that we have that are important are, we've had some programs about people with Alzheimer's, how to plan for people with Alzheimer's, Social Security programs about Social Security's informational programs that I think are very important, where you can come get information that can help you in your everyday life. And then we have the children's program, you know, literacy. During the summer, when schools are closed, it's important for kids to keep reading. There have been things shown where, studies where the summer slide, kids don't keep reading and they kind of lose some of what they learned during school. So we're a place where we can come, where kids can come and they can keep reading and engage with other kids. We have the summer reading program. We provide the summer reading books for the reading list we get from the schools. So I think it's very important. You know, we've got a lot going on, like you said, but it's I think a lot of, some of the fun stuff, some of it is educational stuff.
Yeah, and all the educational stuff is very important for the community members.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know where to go get some of this information.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's not only a library, but it's also a community, kind of a community center that makes things available to community members. One of the things that sticks in my mind is always, I mean, I like to read, I love to read, and reading and video games. How do you deal with all that? I mean, it's sort of becoming a huge disease, and you touched on it before, Anthony. But from a literacy point of view and reading, how do you deal with that? How do we encourage kids to get buried in a good book?
I think it's just about finding the right book for the right child. You know, it's finding out what the child likes and getting him that book that'll get him hooked. And having been a teen librarian for probably 17 years, I would have kids come in, parents come in and be like, my son doesn't like to read, can you find him a book? I had one woman specifically that I remember, she came in, my son doesn't like to read. I gave him a book. I said, try this one. She came back the next day. She said, he finished it. I need another one. It's really all about just getting the right book to the right, getting the child the right book, is finding something that's going to hook them. I mean, there are books that read like video games. I mean, if a kid likes video games, there are plenty of books that read with that fast-paced kind of action. So I just think that that's it, and encouraging. And it was important when I was growing up, my parents read, like my father read, my mother read, my grandparents, there was always books around the house. I still have some books that I had gotten from my grandparents, especially the Ripley's Believe It or Not, that was my favorite book. I still have its covers torn off, but I loved all that. And so I think it's just also seeing around the house that books are important is another thing that contributes.
Good. I want to end by commending you and congratulating you that you received, the library received a couple of great awards, the Spotlight Award,
Yes.
and also the Preserving Local History Award. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's, again, you know, the library services not only, it's not a place where you can just find books, but it preserves the whole history of the community and makes a lot of information available to the community. So as a center, and that's more than we can ask for. So thank you very much for leading us. And I know you work very closely with the superintendent of schools, besides them collecting taxes for you, which is always a nightmare. I remember those days when I was in the Board of Education.
No longer, it's fine.
Okay, I know you guys work very closely with them, especially at the lower grades, and I know that there's probably more things you can do. So congratulations to both of you, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, our second honorary Grand Marshal is Frank Giordano. Frank is a member of the Italian American Club for many years, and I like to say that he is our poker tournament organizer, and he does that with flair. So let me tell you a little bit about Frank. He traces his roots to Napoli, in the region of Campania, in a town called Toroglia. Okay, never heard the town, but I'm sure it's a beautiful place. He was born in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, in 1949. Young guy, in a neighborhood which was 90% Italian, and some Jewish and Irish intermixed there, but mainly Italian neighborhood. Bensonhurst. Parents, first generation Americans, learned some Italian from grandparents. Mom of 90 still lives in Bensonhurst, and she's been living in the same apartment for 50 years. Same house for 50 years. God bless her. Frank attended St. Athanasius Grammar School, Cathedral Prep. He was studying to become a priest. Can you imagine that? Frank, someday we'll talk about that.
Or the Frank.
He finished high school at Bishop Ford High School. I guess Cathedral Prep fell out of favor after a while.
We did.
Yeah, and then
We like girls.
And then he went on to St. John's University, where he received a BA in Teaching and Coaching Education. So another educator. 3 educators here today. He's retired, but in his spare time, he renovates old properties and rents them out. So he's a businessman now. He left the study of the priesthood, as I said, because he wanted to do other things, more interesting things with his life. He went on to coaching and teaching, worked at Park Slope in Brooklyn, St. Thomas Aquinas, Felix Festa Middle School in the Clarkstown Central School District. He was there for 40 years?
36.
36,
teaching,
okay.
Coaching,
Coaching,
assistant principal.
okay, and assistant principal as well.
God bless.
He has 2 younger brothers and a baby sister. In 1972, he married the love of his life, Josephine. He has a daughter. They have a daughter, Jennifer, and a son, Frankie. 3 grandchildren to date from Jennifer, and Frankie just got married, and he's going to work on things, I would say, right? So,
He's working.
Frankie, the pressure is on. Again, I say Frank is a member of the Italian American Club, and he is the poker tournament guru. Frank, tell us a little bit about Bensonhurst. Growing up in an Italian family of 90% Italian. Tell us about that.
Well, pretty much like you guys, Sunday was family day. And my grandfather, God rest his soul, was a red-haired man who came down from the mountains of Toroglia, which is like the mountain ranges of Italy. He landed in Naples. He believe it or not, was an engineer. And when he didn't want to stay in Italy because, you know, he was an engineer and making like $4 a week. He came to America to become an engineer and build buildings. There was an interpretation problem. He became a school custodian. He said, but this isn't what I want to do. Then when he started telling the engineers what to do and how to do it, they realized he was misplaced. He soon became an executive, and then he went to work for my father, who was a mechanic, auto mechanic in Brooklyn. They worked together for 30-odd years. My grandfather passed away. He was about 75 years old. But what he did was he had traditions. On Sunday, we'll eat pasta and whatever else there was. You had to have pasta. It was like a religion. We went to church. After we went to church, we went to pasta. It was amazing. My grandmother, God rest her soul, was always at the pot. Anytime, day or night, you could go and there would be a pot of sauce on the stove. It was wonderful. We'd all stick our fingers and she'd say, "Donna, baby," hit us with the, and we loved it.
And you loved it, right?
Oh, we loved it.
Frank, you had an extended family, aunts and uncles and cousins, and
My father was one of 6, not as many as you, and my mother was one of 4. And my mother is a twin. Also, both my parents, my wife and her mother, who are 90 years old, well, my mother walks to church every morning. She lives on the corner, and the church, St. Athanasius, which I went to school, is still there. She goes to the school and walks back every day. My aunt now has very bad cancer, and she's in a wheelchair, so she really can't walk with my mother anymore. But God bless her. She just recently went to Brooklyn. There was some sort of an event, and a woman won a car, and she passed away. And somebody asked, "Do you want to buy a car?" So sight unseen, my brother is having very bad times. She bought the car, gave it to him, and it's absolutely gorgeous. That's my mother. My mother is always for the family.
wow.
She's just a good woman.
Frank, any traditions that you remember that you still keep today in your own family from your parents and
Well,
grandparents?
eating together as a family on Sunday, big Christmas. We, for many years, my wife is one of 6 kids, and she's the oldest. And she used to have all the events at our house. Christmas Eve. Now the family has gotten so big it's not. But every Easter, Christmas, we used to have Christmas. Everybody would come over and eat. They would make the fishes, you know, the 7 fishes and this and that and the other thing. They were just delicious. My wife, I got to say, is a better cook than she is with the specialties, and she's also the world's greatest baker. I don't want to brag about her, but we still have the typical Italian cookery.
Good.
Now, one more thing. We always had the whole family over for New Year's Eve, and there was always a poker game till the wee hours of the morning, and that's where I got involved with the cards from my parents.
Frank, have you been to Italy?
Been to Italy twice,
Okay.
multiple places. We went with my school the first time, and it was incredible. We had a teacher called Italo Ciampoli, the Italian teacher. He was also a carabinieri in Italy, and he took us around, and we found all the best places to eat the pastries, and you gotta go here, you gotta off the beaten path. Yeah. And we weren't afraid. It's amazing. We went down these dark streets, and there was no fear. You know, everybody was high, even though we were American. I never saw an American sentiment like there supposedly is now. I haven't seen that.
A lot of it is hogwash.
But it was, well, it was 25 years ago. Then we went once about 10 years ago on our own, and it was very, very nice.
Very nice, Frank.
And talk about cathedrals. God, you know,
One more than the other.
you know, the paintings, the murals, it was
Yeah.
hard to believe how beautiful.
It's an
Breathtaking.
open museum, like I say. It's an open museum all over the place.
Oh, God.
Frank, it's a pleasure to have you as one of our Grand Marshals. Michelle, thank you for being with us today as well. And Anthony, thank you for being with us. Congratulations to the three of you.
Thank you.
Let me turn my attention to our one of our special honorees, Kevin Heinzinger. Hello, Kevin. Hi. Kevin was born on March 28, 1989, at United Hospital in Portchester. I know where that is. Kevin received speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy through WARC. At age 2, he graduated from this school and advanced to Alcott School in Scarsdale, an advanced a nursery school for special needs kids. At 4, he went to UCP in White Plains for pre-K. Right, Marion? Very nice. 1996, he started kindergarten in Mayapack. At the 2nd grade, Kevin was transferred to the Somers Central School District for better programming, because there were some programs that Mayapack did not have, Somers did have, and Mayapack had the wisdom to transfer Kevin to the appropriate programming. He graduated from Somers High in 2012. Congratulations.
Ooh.
He's a graduate. Now Kevin attends a day program run by the CBS agency in North Salem. It's called WOW, Without Walls. That's where you go, right, Kevin? Good. Through this program, Kevin works on a variety of jobs. What kind of jobs do you do, Kevin?
St. John's Church, I clean the benches, floors.
And do you enjoy that?
Yes,
And do you get paid?
I get paid every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks?
Yep.
Huh.
This is volunteer work at St. John's. What's the other volunteer site you like with your day program down in Mount Kisco?
Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels.
That's great.
So you volunteer for some programs, and some programs they pay you for.
Kevin, all of the CBS and WOW's day programs are meant to teach vocational skills, and those are all done at nonprofits, and they're always looking for good opportunities, so you could always get in touch with me. But Kevin also has a paid job at Spins Ball, and that was
Yep.
through CBS as well. So
That's in Carmel, right?
Spins Ball is in Carmel. yeah.
And you get paid for that. Oh. What do you do with that money, Kevin? Are you gonna you stash it in the bank? Is that what you do?
What did you do last Friday night with your paycheck? Who did you buy dinner for?
Has a grill.
Okay, I said, well, for me and Dad.
Oh, how awesome.
When are you going to invite me?
Sure.
Thank you, Kevin. You're really kind. On Thursday, Kevin is part of the Special Olympics. He does track and field games, and I think this past May they had them at West Point, and you participated, right?
Yes.
Did you win any medals?
Yes, I did.
All right. What kind of medals did you win?
2nd place.
Excellent. Track and field, right? And do you enjoy that?
Yep.
What other sports do you like?
Kevin was actually at West Point with his day program, and everybody was looking around at the different things to see. And Kevin said, "Oh, look, here I am." He's actually in the West Point Museum. A picture of Kevin with his Special Olympics team. I mean, it's, right? Remember? That's cool.
I did deal.
He's
Superstar.
very, very active, this young man.
Superstar.
Kevin lived in Tuckahoe Road in Yonkers. Then he moved to Mayapack. What year did you move to Mayapack?
1989.
1989?
89 you were born, 90.
I was born.
99. You were born in 89, but you came to Mayapack in 99, right?
Yes.
Kevin has a younger sister named Katie, and she is a doctor in third-year residency at Stamford Hospital. Do you like your sister?
I do.
Oh, good man.
He's my
And
older
you also have a younger brother, Michael.
son. Yes.
You fight with him?
No.
No. I know Michael. He's a
He's the
good man.
best brother.
He's a good boy. And he's the guy to see at Dick's Sporting Goods at the JV Mall. Do you go to the JV Mall
Yes,
to
I
visit
did.
him?
Yep.
All right, Kevin.
My dad's a
Kevin
drummer.
had, pardon me?
My dad is a drummer.
I know. Mom, Marion, she is a master volunteer. She volunteers for everything under the sun in Mayapack. She's a business manager for the Ray Block Productions. And Ed, Dad, is a drummer with a local band. And Kevin, I'm told, goes to
Little Elvis.
to these places where Dad plays, and he is known as
Little Elvis.
Little Elvis. There you
Little
go.
Elvis, yeah.
That is great.
An Elvis impersonator. They have an Elvis impersonator, and Kevin impersonates the Elvis impersonator. Perfect.
Eugene, I got married.
Elvis impersonator his mother.
Do you want to do an impersonation of Elvis?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Because Eugene got married.
Well, no.
I'm sorry.
Nobody
Jane
else.
got married, but that's
Okay.
not what we're going to talk about today.
Do an impersonation of Elvis.
All the faces.
I saw it.
You want to sing a song that Elvis sings? No. No, okay. Well, folks,
Falling
Kevin, we see Kevin every Sunday at St. John's at 8:45, 9 o'clock now, Mass, and he is the master altar server who tells everybody, including Father Caruso, what to do. Okay? Right, Kevin?
Yes.
You got it. A very active young man with many, many friends, and we love you, Kevin. We love you, and we thank you for being you. A nice young man that you are, of 30 years old.
And I was honored for PRPH.
Thank you for the honor for PRPA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure, Kevin. Our pleasure. Our pleasure to honor PRPH, of which you are part
I'm
of.
a special honoree.
You're a special honoree for PRPH this year. So we congratulate you. Okay? And we're going to be walking in the parade. We're going to go to the dinner dance. You're going to have a good time, my friend.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to dance with Linda. And she loves to dance with you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so very proud of these Americans of Italian heritage, especially during these very difficult times for our country and our world. We appreciate these proud and great contributors to our community and to our country. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Michelle, Frank, and Anthony. Now, for a little close, I just want to remind everyone for some special events that are coming up. Again, on September the 22nd, we have the big dinner dance at Villa Barone. October 6th, we have our parade, the big parade, Sunday, October 6th, starting at 2:30. And Sunday, October the 20th, at 11:30, we have our Mass and concert at St. John the Evangelist. Again, look at our website, Italian American Club of Mayapack.org, for all the information. I would like to take a moment to thank all the people that made this filming possible today. I want to thank again the Marshals and the honorees. I want to thank all the local merchants that make it possible for us to raise some money for the journal so that we can donate appropriately to the charity that we espouse every year. I want to thank my co-hosts, Jim Sullivan from PRPH and Linda Cefaloni, the chairwoman of the journal committee, and my beautiful wife, obviously. I want to thank Nick for being our technical director. Anytime I tell Nick I want to do this, Nick shudders and he says, let's do it again. So he keeps me honest on time, and I know we're running a little fast here. So I want to thank all the folks behind the scenes that make everything possible. We have some folks downstairs preparing some things. So until next year, please join us in all the Columbus Day festivities. Join PRPH in all their events that are coming up. Visit their website, prphny.org. Okay? Visit their website. Everything is there for people to see. Buona salute. Arrivederci. Until next year. Ciao. God bless America.